Well, this morning we're here in a very sunny Newmarket meeting now Royal Ascot winning jockey Harry Davies, and he promises me we're going to the best coffee spot in town. No pressure. Harry, lovely to see you.
Hey,
Thank you so much.
Good.
Should we go and get one?
Yeah, this is the best.
This is the best.
You struggle to be disappointed.
Come on then.
Yeah.
What are we having?
Well, there is a coffee named after Dylan Cooner actually, which is quite good. That's my fancy.
Yeah.
Flat white, reliable, cappuccino.
What are you having?
I'll have a cappuccino. Racing TV sponsoring us for the day.
Well, Harry, cheers for taking us here.
That's all right.
You've promised it's the best coffee in town.
It is very good.
That it is, and what a way to celebrate a seriously good week and a memorable one for you.
Yeah, obviously very hard to get a winner at Ascot, and to have got one, I just feel very lucky and privileged, and I feel like it's only sort of just about hitting me now.
So it's just about...
Yeah, setting in.
Yeah.
Probably a good few days after, and I think everyone appreciates how difficult it is to go to Ascot, compete, and to walk away with a winner is always not easy. And like I say, I'm just very thankful that I've done it now. I
can imagine. But you are Newmarket through and through. This has always been your home.
It's obviously the home of our sport, and there's no better hub to be in, especially for a jockey that's trying to make their way and spread themselves about into different yards. It's a great hub, and there's good opportunity here.
Thank you very much for having us. Well done with
James.
last week.
Right, Harry, how are you?
Mate, how
okay?
All right.
Bloody hell, you can afford that?
Got one of these for the big horse. The first time I rode him at Leicester, he was quite tall and leggy, where now he's physically he's a beast. He's done so well width-wise as well. He's strengthened up so much.
It's an exciting,
and even since Doncaster, at the start of the season, to now, he's grown again.
He's done well.
He just keeps improving, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Is he out this lot, James?
No, just out next, but out the back.
I can't remember the last time I came up here on foot was. What are these horses there? Oh, they're child clothes. They've got to be 2-year-olds.
You can just tell that by looking at them, all the way that they go up.
Yeah. When I was a kid riding up here, I always used to hope that my horse would give me an easy time, because I was so small on their back I couldn't really do much if they decided to go with me. So.
You started so young, didn't you? Especially riding the...
Yeah, I think I started riding out at about 9 or 10. I was very, very small, so I remember my mum and Hugo, I had a few racing ponies, and Hugo said to my mum if I'd be ready to sort of ride one out, and my mum was a little bit cautious about the idea. They obviously couldn't put me on anything that could possibly buck or do anything to get me off, because I only weighed about 4.5 stone. If anything done anything, I would have just been up in a tree somewhere. And yeah, that sort of started it. I used to ride that filly out most mornings after that. I got the bug and slowly picked it up, and by the age of 11 or 12 I was riding work on the work lists.
Because of your mum's affiliation with Hugo Palmer, you obviously grew up on that yard. What was Hugo like as a senior figure at the time when you were so young?
He was fantastic, yeah. He always wanted me to learn, give me great advice. Wasn't scared to sort of give me a telling off if I'd done something wrong either.
Yeah.
And I think he really helped shape me into you know, what I am now, I suppose. But you know, when you're young and you're small, the reality of it is it can go wrong pretty easily, because to be honest, if a horse decided to latch on with me coming up here, it would be gone. There would be nothing I could do to stop it. I was that small, and obviously they handpicked my rides, you know, carefully, and I just think it was great fun. And to be able to wake up early in the morning and ride one out before going to school and sitting in a classroom all day was a good thing to do.
Were you twiddling your thumbs when you got to school as a result, because you'd had such a good morning?
Yeah, I knew what I wanted to do anyway, and it was never overly fond of sitting in the classroom. For me, it was never any, oh, I want to be anything else. It was always, I wanted to be a jockey. And if there was ever a disaster of becoming too big, it would have definitely been something else to do in racing. And I've always liked the idea of possibly trying to train a horse one day. And definitely would have just been nothing else other than anything in horse racing.
Oh, he loves the camera.
Yeah.
I was still processing it.
I know.
I don't know.
The next one finished third. I thought I was going to have another one.
Yeah.
I know.
It was, yeah.
Someday.
Incredible.
It was an absolutely amazing
I thought
day.
everyone was going to be laughing at me because of how I reacted, but everyone seemed to.
I think everyone gets it.
Yeah.
You know, like the enormity of the situation of having an Ascot winner is.
You know, just to think, like,
It's a big deal.
5 years ago, we were riding out pointers and going to Hampton, and I was celebrating, you know, having a winner there, and then we're at Royal Ascot.
Any winner's good, but
Yeah.
Royal Ascot is.
It was just incredible. And to do it with a horse I love so much, it was just brilliant. But you're a good boy, aren't you? You're a lovely boy. Yes, you are. And he loves a kiss after the race, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It was lovely when he gave me a little
He likes
smooch.
kisses in general.
Oh,
He's
he
looked
does.
after by a lady, so
Mwah. You're a big ladies man.
he's learnt to be quite romantic.
We all thought this was had a great chance. It was the right race for him after being narrowly denied in the Lincoln. But we took him to France thinking he'd get black type, run very well in Pattern Company, which we still think he's that level. And you know, didn't go to plan there. But he bounced out of that race really well. So we were very keen to run again. In France, we thought the ground was quite quick. That was our slight worry with Ascot as well. But they'd done such a good job on the ground, and it was like a little sponge those first couple of days. And I was keen to run. Harry was keen to run, and he got such a good record with this horse. We decided to give it a go. Thank God we did. He's a very sensible horse. So he handled the prelims fantastically, and has a great mind. And you know, we had a great draw really, you know, as it turned out. And he went to plan. He jumped well from the gates.
Oh,
Harry's better at riding him than
sorry
leading.
guys. Taking me for a walk.
Jumped well from the gates, had a lovely sit. And you know, it's so hard to see those races when you watch them on the big screen. But when you hear their name, you think, oh, we got to go now. You know, got a chance, and that was fantastic.
Harry's built up a fantastic relationship with him, especially over the last 12 months. How much of a pleasure or a chore is it working with Harry each day?
Well, no, Harry is a fantastic rider. What Harry does, he has the utmost confidence in his own abilities, and I think he suits those big days. He rode a Chester Cup winner for me, and he's ridden 2 Chester Cup winners now. He's done that because he has confidence in himself. He doesn't get bullied out of situations, and he's a very good lad. And you know, he gave this horse a fantastic ride. The affinity he has with this horse, he's won him now. That's his 6th win on him, and you know, if Harry's available, he'll be riding this horse. So yeah, and it's lovely.
Says, yeah, I'm a good boy. Royal Ascot winner.
Well, this morning we're here in a very sunny Newmarket to see budding videographer and Royal Ascot winning jockey, Harry Davies.
Look at that. You look quite handsome on this camera.
Thanks, mate.
Just track towards the horses.
That's lovely.
Smile,
mate.
Jordan.
No, I'm okay, thank you.
Jordan's not in the mood this morning.
You were saying how good Rhea's done.
Oh, she's just done the most amazing job with him. And you can see by the way she rides, she pulls them together and she has them trotting in an outline. And it's little things like that which help improve a horse.
How important is that? Because I always feel like it's a really underrated part of producing horses on the big day, having someone that's got a great relationship but also has so much ability to look after them day to day.
Yeah, I think it's no secret at James's that Rhea is a very, very capable rider. And I would say by the posture of Rhea, she probably has a showing background. And it's amazing how a lot of horses, if you get them working in an outline, you know, trotting round, he carries himself properly, and that'll all go through his back end, his neck. Strengthen up plenty for that. You know, a lot of riders leave horses alone completely, and they never learn to carry themselves properly.
You've ridden some seriously good horses. You've ridden plenty of group winners. Emotionally, given the fact that he was your first Royal Ascot winner, where does he currently sit in the list of top ones that you've ever been on?
I'd probably put him at the top. You know, group winners are obviously fantastic, but there's no venue quite like Royal Ascot, and whether jockeys want to admit it or not, when you haven't had a winner there, it definitely is a monkey on your back. And for me, it felt like more a sense of relief than excitement when I crossed the line.
But you'd had plenty of good chances there. You'd had plenty of horses run really well for you there.
Yeah.
Was it starting to become frustrating?
Yeah, for sure. And you go back each year and think you have a really good book of rides, or, you know, even if you're 25-1 at Ascot, you go there and you would like to think you have a chance. That's the sort of place it is. It's completely wide open. You need plenty of luck. You need everything to go right. You need to give the horse the right ride as well. You know, we get it wrong, jockeys. And the horse needs to perform. Everything must go right. There's no hiding place at Ascot. So when it happens, it's massive. And
when would you have first dreamt of riding a Royal Ascot winner?
From the start. You know, I think everyone knows.
How old would you have been?
Well, growing up watching Ascot, and like I say, having a close relationship with Hugo growing up, and I remember Galileo Gold winning the St James's Palace, and it was completely magical. Every Ascot winner is incredibly hard to get, and they're not something to be taken lightly. When it happens, you should try and enjoy it.
How did you enjoy it? How did you celebrate?
Well, I was riding the next day, and I literally went home. I swung through the high street. I got a Thai street calf. I got some rice and some chicken, and had an early night. I was completely exhausted, and
that was good enough, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's good enough. It was a nice bit of food. Go to bed. I must have watched the replay probably 100 times, I'd say, and I just went to bed feeling incredibly lucky to have ridden a winner.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
A man who has admired the talents of Harry Davies for some time is Tony Elliott. Rogue Diplomat's win was Tony's second winner at Royal Ascot under the Rogues Gallery Syndicate banner, and we wanted to get an insight into how that success has been achieved.
Stood next to us here is the trophy of the Royal Hunt Cup. Describe to me what Wednesday meant to you.
It's very, very difficult, honestly. You're at something so special. And to win a race at Ascot, Royal Ascot, is just, it's beyond your wildest dreams, it really is. And as a syndicate, when you're trying to prove to your members where you're trying to get and all, it's just incredible, it really is.
It's not the first time you've had success there either. We'll get onto that later, but I want to know more about you and your background before getting into racing. How would you describe best what you did?
I've been into a few different things as businesses, car dealing and building houses, and you know, but I've always loved sport. I loved enjoying myself. I'm very, very competitive to a point where it causes a lot of problems for myself because I'm that competitive. I really outdo myself. I attempt things I know I can't achieve, and with this Royal Ascot thing, doing it twice, it's mad. It's mad.
You say that you try and attempt things that you can't achieve. Is something like this, at the time when you first got into syndicates, something that you'd have put along there and therefore you've knocked that ball down? Or did you always think, I can do this?
No, I'd always think I could do this. I promised my syndicate that I'm going to get them a Group 1 or a classic horse. And I will keep going and do everything in my power with limited resources to get us there. And like, it's not about the money. It's about these days. It's absolutely something so special.
Where did that love for racing start then? How were you introduced to it?
I don't think it's the love for racing. It's more competition. Everything I do, I just take it to the extreme. And I started this off as a joke. My first horse was called Hold the Bucks because he bucked all the way around the parade ring. He cost £3,000. With Stan Moore, and it was fun, just a laugh. I used to go down to Lambourne and spend the weekend down there just laughing and messing around in the pub with all the jockeys and the trainers. And that's how it started. It was just a laugh.
So then what made you want to take it more seriously and start spending a bit more and getting involved in...
Time. I think it's just time. You know, I went from there and then I had a jump horse with Nicky Henderson called First Point. I think he won 7 races and I thought, blimey, this is so easy. I'd had 4 or 5 horses and they'd all won. No money, but like, blimey, this is easy. And the side that I really liked was meeting different people from all different walks of life. And it was something that, even the early days, I can think back, even with Stan Moore, we went to the Maldives, we went everywhere. And it was just fun.
We're sat here at the Rogues Gallery Racing Bar. It's brilliant, it's awesome, it's beautiful. But where did the idea about the syndicate come about? Why did you go into that?
Well, I think I had 5 horses on my own at one time, and it was far too expensive for me. I'm not saying I was wasting the money, I was enjoying it, but it got to a point where it's too expensive. So a couple of people that I know was in syndicates, so I thought I'll have a look at syndicates. And I went for all the syndicates, and then I realised the syndicates was businesses, and I didn't want to be involved in paying someone's wages, and like these big syndicates was just not for me. It didn't fit my background and my profile and what I was doing. So I had 5 or 6 friends, joined up together, called ourselves Rogues Gallery, and it just grew from there really.
Where did the name come from?
Just Rogues Gallery, just looking at us, I suppose. It's probably the biggest mistake I've made, in all honesty, was calling us Rogues Gallery.
Why is that?
Well, because not everybody wants to be involved with Rogues Gallery. You know, when you're talking to, as you come up the ladder in horse racing, I was talking to a lady at Ascot and she had a 10,000 acre ranch in Australia. And we'd just won with Ascot, and she said to me, I'd love to be involved with you. I said, well, if you go on our website, it's called Rogues Gallery Racing. And she went, oh no, I couldn't be involved with that. And it was like, if we'd have been, there's some clever people in this, and I'm not one of them, but I could have called us Newmarket Racing or Ascot Racing, which them clubs exist, but that would have been a much better thing to sell now.
There are so many syndicates around, but what you've built really feels like something different, something special. When you're competing at the top table like a Royal Ascot, when you're having Oaks Trial winners, you're winning pattern races, that's something that, especially in, I think, flat racing more than jumps racing, is more difficult to compete at the top level. You've seemingly found a way to do that. How? How did you do that? We're
a very unique syndicate, very, very unique. Whereas we pay 100 grand for a horse, there's 100 shares at £1,000 each. We've learnt the hard way through different things that have gone on and how much more expensive it is than it first looks. But we've grown a syndicate now that fits my style, fits what I want to do. Basically, it's my dream. I'm selling it to everybody else, and they're coming on that dream. And 99.9% of people get it. They really get it, especially when you're selling horses for millions. And you know, I think we've had 25 in the 5.5 years. We've had 25 pattern winners placed or big handicap winners, which is just mad. Most years we only have about 20 horses running.
When you set out, you said, a moment ago that you thought you could do this. Being completely honest with yourself, 5.5 years on, did you think you'd be in this position where
Yes.
you'd done it? Yes.
Yes, I can't, like I couldn't have started doing this if I did. The reason I carried it on and grew it was because that's what I wanted to do. That's exactly where I want to go. And I've said to them, don't think 2's enough for us. I've told all our syndicate members this week, we'll be back next year and we'll be trying for a 3rd. In all honesty, I got a lot more pleasure out of it this time because Harry Davies, James Owen, they've not done it before, and that was my little dig to them. You get used to it after you've done it once. You get used to it, and we all went back afterwards and had a good drink, and it was absolutely like James had tears, Harry had tears. It was just something. That's my buzz out of it. That is my buzz out of it. My owners, if you look at the pictures of them, everyone leaping around, and we're just normal people. We're not really meant to be there. And I say that not tongue in cheek. We're not meant to be there. It's an elitist sport. When you get to that level, every single horse, every single owner, they're all big. And then you get someone like Rogue's Gallery come along.
What's been your experience with Harry?
Harry, I'll tell you what made me think of, Harry's had a little bit of a tough time. He's a lovely, lovely lad. He's so confident it's beyond belief. I said to him, I wish I could curb his confidence because sometimes it's a little bit too much. But you know what struck me more about Harry was his mum went with him on the day. And she had a little bit on the horse at 50-1, I think. And he said she was like, she come in, she was in tears. And it was like, that's all the part of racing that people don't see. And Harry, like he said, he kept phoning me, thank you so much, thank you so much. And it was like, he means it. I know he means it. It's a big thing. Royal Ascot winners.
So mum's very much been the influence on you when it comes to the racing side of things.
Yeah, my mum's always given me the best opportunity that she can for me to learn and do well in our sport. And my mum was on her own for a lot of my childhood, and I wouldn't say it was easy for her, but I definitely didn't want for anything, and she'd done an amazing job to give me, ponies and never left me short.
What's your relationship like?
Great, yeah, she's like my best friend, really. Speak to her every day, probably 3 or 4 times a day. If I ever ride a winner, she's always on the phone and saying well done. And equally, if I get it wrong, she'd probably be on the phone saying, what were you doing? So. Yeah. We've got a fantastic relationship, as I'm sure anyone that's grown up the way I sort of did would have.
When you turned around to her and said, Mum, I really want to be a jockey, this is the dream, what was the initial reaction?
My mum always used to say that Andrew Borden was the best place to go for an apprentice.
Why was that?
Look at his records, William Buick, Dan Muscat, David Probert, Oisin Murphy, Jason Watson. There's so many good jockeys that have come out of there and gone on to do great things, and I think that's just the grounding that they give you. You have to work hard. If you don't work hard, you don't get on, but if you do work hard, you'll be rewarded with the rides. And Andrew gave me some great opportunities when I was there, and sort of got me going. I decided to come to Newmarket when I lost my claim. I wanted to sort of spread my wings, but Parkhouse Stables is an amazing place, and I was very lucky to be there.
How does a young jockey take constructive criticism? Because I'd imagine there's got to be a certain, especially when you want to get to the top, you've got to have a certain level of self-belief. But when people around you are saying you can do this better, you can do that better, you may have sometimes thought, I gave that a great ride, and there's a little tweak.
Yeah.
Is that something you were very easy to take on?
We're always learning, and there's not a jockey riding in the weighing room that's never got it wrong, and everyone knows that. And it's important that if you want to keep improving, you have to understand that you're not perfect and you're not always going to get it right. And I get it wrong all the time, but there'll be equally times where you get it right. That's just the way racing is, and I always want to improve. I always want to be better. I want to learn to give horses a better ride. And I think every day in horse racing is a learning day. You know, you're never going to come out of there feeling perfect or feel like you are the finished article. I don't think there's a jockey riding in the weighing room that believes they're absolutely perfect. You know, we all have an aspect to improve on, whether you're champion jockey or starting out. It's just something that is there. And I think if you don't want to learn and you don't want to accept the criticism, you may as well give up, because it's just not the right attitude to have, is it?
That said, when you did become apprentice, you started as quick as, I mean, I've ever seen anyone. 67 winners in the first season. Second ride, went and rode a winner at Lingfield.
Yeah.
At that point in your career, I know that it was a battle with Benoit. We'll get onto that later. But at the start of that season, could you have ever imagined you'd ride 67 winners?
Not at all. I remember me and Andrew had a chat when I first got my licence, and he said, you know, first year, if we can just sort of get you 50 rides and 5 winners, he said that'll be great. And then obviously slowly build it up, and next year, you know, do a little bit better. And that was always sort of the goal, but it just took off. I don't think any of us expected it to go the way it did, and it was a complete whirlwind. You know, I learned so much in my first year, and I just always felt very lucky to be riding the horses that I was, and to be getting the opportunity, because, you know, the thing is, in horse racing, no one owes anyone anything, and every time you get an opportunity, that's something to be very much thankful for. And the reality of it was I got a lot of opportunity early on, so I was very lucky, yeah. How
do you reflect on that first season battle with Benoit?
Well, it was, you know, it was very difficult for sure. Midway through the season, I had it in my eyes to try and be champion, and Benoit was definitely no pushover. You know, Benoit was a very, very talented rider. Rode for a powerful stable in Clare Haven, and I think we pushed each other to be better. You know, we both rode a lot of winners, and even if one week you could start the week 5 up, the way we were riding winners, by the end of the week you could end up being 2 or 3 behind. It was just mental, but at the same time, I think me getting beat in the championship was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, really.
Why was that?
Well, because I had to swallow that defeat, and that was something that I had built up in my mind of having at the end of the year, all year. I had that in my mind of being champion, and Champions Day, walking down the chute with William Buick and lifting the trophy, and it didn't happen like that. So I had to sort of swallow that, and of course it was hard, but I think it, if anything, you know, put a set of manners on me for sure, and made me realise that you can think it's going to happen, but this is horse racing.
Were there any guys, more senior guys, that you modelled yourself on?
Well, I've always really looked up to the likes of James Doyle and Ryan Moore. I loved Richard Hughes when I was growing up. I thought he was fantastic, and there's no hiding that I'd be one of the taller jockeys in the flat weighing room. And I had to work hard on sort of learning to put yourself in the right position. Is obviously harder to do as a tall rider, and you know, they're great jockeys, and I'd always try my hardest to watch them and understand what they do better than a lot of jockeys, and why they're in the position they are.
What separates them from the rest for you?
Well, they're obviously incredibly talented riders, and they all have a really solid mind. I think that's the biggest part of being a jockey. You know, if your mind's right and you can cope with defeat more than anything is a big thing. You know, Ryan Moore's probably the unflappable, isn't he? You know, I've seen him this week at Royal Ascot, and I've never seen anyone so focused, and you know, that's what you've got to be like, isn't it? For a young jockey to witness that is a great thing.
His own character, Harry.
Yeah.
He's quite the poser, isn't he? Good boy.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.